What kind of angel could convince 200 heavenly beings to abandon their place in heaven? According to the Book of Enoch, his name was Samyaza, the leader of the Watchers. On a night above Mount Hermon, he stood before them with a dangerous desire and an even greater fear that the others would retreat, leaving him alone to bear the punishment. So the Watchers made a collective oath, binding themselves to the same forbidden decision. What followed would bring celestial secrets into human hands, produce terrifying giants, and fill the earth with violence. Samyaza may not have committed every destructive act himself, but he was the one who ensured that 200 angels crossed the boundary together. The Bible gives only a few mysterious lines about the event. Genesis 6 says that the sons of God saw the daughters of humanity, took wives for themselves, and fathered children connected with the Nephilim. But it never names Samyaza, never reveals the number of celestial beings involved, and never describes the decision that brought them down. The Book of Enoch opens that hidden door. In its account, the rebels were the Watchers, celestial beings who had looked upon the human world from above. There were 200 of them, and Samyaza stood at their head. He was not merely another angel swept along by the desires of the group. He possessed authority, influence, and enough power over the others to turn a forbidden intention into an organized rebellion. The Watchers had seen the daughters of men and wanted to choose wives among them. Samyaza desired the same thing, but he understood the danger. They were preparing to cross a boundary between heaven and earth that had never been given to them to cross. Yet his greatest fear was not the transgression itself. It was being left alone. Samyaza warned the others that they might lose their courage, abandon the plan, and leave him to carry the punishment by himself. So, the Watchers proposed a solution more terrifying than hesitation. They would bind themselves together. No one would retreat. No one would abandon the others. Every one of them would share the decision and the curse that followed it. They gathered upon the summit of Mount Hermon. Beneath the darkness, 200 heavenly beings swore a collective oath and bound themselves through mutual consequence. The mountain would carry the memory of that agreement. Before the oath, each Watcher could still turn back. After it, retreat became betrayal. Then they descended. Imagine storm clouds opening beneath hundreds of wings, the human world growing larger below, and Samyaza leading the formation toward the earth. Behind them, Mount Hermon disappeared into the night. But the promise made there followed every one of them, and they were not coming empty-handed. Along with their presence, they would bring secrets from the celestial realm, knowledge humanity had never been prepared to possess. The Watchers did not descend merely to live among humanity. They carried celestial knowledge into a world unprepared to receive it. According to our first Enoch, the women bore children who grew into giants, beings whose hunger soon exceeded everything the earth could provide. First, they consumed humanity's resources. Then, hunger became violence. Animals, people, and eventually the giants themselves were pulled into destruction. The mysterious Nephilim of Genesis became, in Enoch's expanded account, the visible consequence of a boundary broken between heaven and earth. But the corruption was not only physical. Azazel taught humanity to forge swords, knives, shields, and armor. Other Watchers revealed the movements of the stars, signs of the earth, and courses of the sun and moon. Samyaza was associated with enchantments and the knowledge of roots. What looked like progress became power without wisdom, knowledge separated from obedience and restraint. Samyaza did not personally teach every forbidden art. His greater guilt was leadership. He united the Watchers, sealed their oath, and opened the road by which these secrets entered the human world. Now the leader who feared suffering alone watched the consequences multiply beyond his control. The giants consumed, weapons spread, blood covered the earth. Human cries rose toward heaven. Then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down and saw the violence. They heard the dead crying out and brought the corruption of the Watchers before the Most High. Samyaza's authority over his companions was remembered, not as an honor, but as evidence against him. He had persuaded 200 angels to descend together. Now heaven was preparing to answer them. Heaven's answer came through judgment. Uriel was sent to warn Noah that destruction was approaching. Raphael received the command to bind Azazel. Gabriel was sent against the giants, turning their violence against one another. And Michael was ordered to seize Samyaza and the Watchers who had joined his rebellion. The punishment contained a cruel reversal. Samyaza had created an oath so that none of the Watchers could abandon him. Now they remained united, but not in freedom. They were forced to witness the destruction of the children born from their transgression before being bound beneath the earth. There was no equal battle between Michael and Samyaza. Once divine judgment had been declared, celestial beauty, strength, and rank could not protect the leader of the Watchers. The angel who had commanded 200 beings was dragged into darkness with the very companions he had convinced to descend. According to 1 Enoch, Samyaza and his followers were imprisoned in the valleys of the earth for 70 generations, awaiting the final judgment. But before their sentence was completed, the Watchers attempted one final act. They approached Enoch and asked him to write a petition for mercy. The humiliation was profound. Beings who had once stood above humanity now depended on a human being to speak for them before God. Enoch carried their request, but the answer offered no peace. They had abandoned their heavenly station, revealed mysteries that were not theirs to give, and corrupted the world they were meant to observe. The New Testament does not name Samyaza, but Jude speaks of angels who abandoned their proper dwelling and were kept in chains for judgment. Samyaza had feared carrying the guilt alone. In the end, the oath ensured that the fall he began would imprison them all. Samyaza feared being abandoned, so he bound 200 Watchers to the same decision. But their oath did not divide the guilt, it multiplied the destruction. The leader who wanted companions in rebellion ultimately gained companions in chains. Genesis preserves the mystery of the sons of God and the Nephilim. The book of Enoch gives that mystery a name, a leader, and a sentence. And Samyaza's story is only one fragment of a much larger celestial history. Click the video appearing on your screen now and continue your journey through the hidden mysteries of the angelic realm.